up, CFRE Radio? Welcome back. My name is Tiana, and I am a volunteer for the CFRE Radio, and today we have the pleasure of having the artist CMAGIC5 in the studio.
Hi,
Woo!
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We are very excited to have you here today. So, I'm just going to start off. I really love knowing about artists' names and where they come from, and I was just wondering, do you have a backstory behind your artist name?
Yeah, it's actually, I'm glad you asked because CMAGIC5 is actually a name I came up with when I was really little. It's when I think Instagram kind of first came out and it was my first Instagram account. And so the C corresponds to the initial of my first name, which I may share one day. But for now, it's I want to probably do the whole weekend thing that he's doing where it's one day, do this rebrand and then kind of come out with that name. But I'd like to live my secret double Hannah Montana life for as long as possible. So that's what the C is for. The 5 is my lucky number because I was born on the 5th day of the 5th month. And magic, as cliche or corny as it may seem, all I've ever wanted people to do when they listen to my music is just kind of experience the magic through music. So it's when I first fell in love with it.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I love, that's probably one of my favorite parts is hearing the story because they have to have a name for a reason, Course, so it's nice to hear that.
Of course. Thank you.
Now, I also wanted to ask, what are some of your musical inspirations that you have?
There's so many. It's always nice just getting to when creating music, it's I pull inspiration from everywhere. Just to kind of backtrack a little bit, I feel like I did grow up listening to a lot of classic rock music thanks to my dad. He'd always play it around the house, and that's something that I think the first type of music that I fell in love with. So a lot of the classics, AC/DC, Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses. So those are always my favorites to this day. I still do listen to them on my playlist, of course. And then, of course, I feel like I keep referencing Hannah Montana, but I did have that phase, where it's it wasn't just a phase. I feel like that show really did kind of helped me realize that this is kind of what I wanted to do, or it's fully what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. It's getting to perform, but also create the music. So that's kind of when I got into more pop music. And I just loved music that, was very catchy, would stick in your head and made you feel good even on your worst days. And just kind of, the kind of music that makes you want to get up in the morning, look forward to something. And I feel like that kind of shaped the music that I create today, where it's kind of blending those rock elements with pop. So it's I like to call myself, I'm a rock girl in a pop world. So yeah, just kind of blending those elements. I also love, the classic 2000s pop punk scene. So a lot of Avril Lavigne, Paramore. So those are definitely some of my favorites.
Yeah, no, that's a really nice way of describing it too. And I always like to see when artists do kind of a combination of styles. Mm-hmm. It's very fun when they do have a very distinctive style, but I love to see especially in your music when I was listening to it, kind of having both worlds combined. And I'm sure a lot of the audience
Best
can
of both
agree.
Worlds.
Yeah,
yes, for sure. I love it.
And people can find exactly what they like in that, which I think is very nice.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, I was also wondering, when did you start getting into music and making your own music?
Great question. I always like to say that music chose me. So ever since I was little, I think the first thing I started doing was these living room performances to friends and family. And everyone can tell, including myself, that, it was more than just a hobby. It was more like a passion. And it was something that I really loved doing. And I enjoyed how it made other people feel, whether it was through dancing and acting. So it started off with me just living out pop star dreams in the living room, but then I also did a bunch of these yearly Broadway summer performances. So I am a theater kid. I've done a lot of musical theater, and then I also got into classical training. So it's I'm not sure if you're familiar with the RCM, but I was basically RCM certified by the age of 16, I think, in voice. And along with that, we also had to do theory, harmony, history of music. So I feel like that definitely does help me with my music. It's just kind of getting to understand my writing and stuff on a deeper level, the notes and things like that. So it's definitely helpful. And it just, that I feel like that's kind of where it all started. And, during my elementary school years, which weren't the easiest, of course, with bullying and things like that, that's when I kind of first gravitated to songwriting, and that's when I first discovered my passion for it. So, I got my acoustic guitar as a gift for Christmas, and I had no idea how to play it whatsoever, but I was like, okay, there's YouTube, so why don't I learn a few chords? And I started songwriting. And that's the first time where I was like, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I started writing, and the songs just kind of wrote themselves, and they naturally created this first EP. And so I was like, so little at that time. I was like about 12 years old, but it was like the lyrics were still like, in its raw stages, but they were meaningful, right? And they meant something to me. And then people were like, you know what, this is really good for her age. So I was like, okay, why don't I keep doing this? So from there, I just kept songwriting, and then I kept releasing more music. But I would say starting around the pandemic time, that's when I kind of fully started to get into releasing music a little bit more commercially.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I always say like music really brings people together, and it's something that people can really find a connection to. And it's always nice to hear that backstory with it as well, because it's especially like hearing that personal connection from the artist. It's like you can also relate that to yourself. And I find that I do that a lot with the artists that I listen to as well. Like, oh my gosh, that's so cool that they were making music in that.
Yeah.
On that same note, it sounds like that you were making music while you were a student at UTM, and I was just more wondering, how was that experience of like balancing making music and the songwriting while also being a student?
I'm so thankful that you asked that. So yeah, for listeners who are tuning in who don't know, I actually did graduate from UTM spring of 2024, and it's something that I've wanted to do for so long. It's like it was my own decision. I definitely I do believe in the power of education, and I do understand you can't get everything there is from textbooks, but it is the experience as well, right? And then something that I'm so grateful that we had here is that the culture is so diverse, and you're just getting to learn so much. And I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to say that it was easy, because I can't even express the number of mental breakdowns I had. It was not easy, but balance is key, and it's like that's something that's why I'm glad I'm back here to promote that. It's like I feel like there's this stigma around when you want to pursue your dreams, especially like wanting to become like an artist and a musician full time. There's this stigma that it's like, oh, in order to do that, you kind of have to drop out of school. And that's something I really, really wanted to fight against. I was like, why do I have to make that choice? Why can't I do it all? So it's like, I stayed in school, finished that, got my degree. I graduated from the Digital Enterprise Management specialty program, so it was very exciting. And now I'm back here, doing music full time, and I definitely don't regret it one bit. And that's exactly what I want to inspire other students to be doing as well. It's like you can stay in school, get your education, earn that degree, but still pursue your dreams at the same time, even if they don't like align.
Awesome. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking like there are a lot of students who kind of university is their time to figure out like, hey, actually maybe I do want to do music. And when you read the stories of like some of your favorite artists and you see that, you go, man, like how did they balance that out? Like school, as you said, is definitely not something that's easy. It's very challenging. So I think that's very inspiring how you put your education there, and that's something that you really want to achieve, but also simultaneously with your dream of making music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thank you for saying that. And even with that, it's like a lot of people think I came here to study music. I actually didn't. I did the total opposite. Like the program digital management, it's like that was more of the business, economics, technology side of things. And it's like, okay, I feel like if I bumped into any of my professors today, they'd be like, what are you doing with music right now? But that helped me focus more on the business side of things of my craft, because being an artist is so much more than just getting to songwrite. I wish it was like I could just write and perform and just do all the things that a musician gets to do. But the reality of it is it's like it's 10% music in this business, right? So it's like I also have to be my own publicist, doing my own promotions and things like that, right? So it's like I also need to be aware of the business side of things and how fast that's changing too, right? Especially with technology. So I felt like at that moment I made a smart choice, and I'm happy with the path that I decided to pursue. Oh yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, definitely it's definitely something that you need to balance, and you play a lot of roles in that.
Yes.
If you were to give one piece of advice to maybe your younger self or any of our listeners or viewers who are trying to pursue music while in this very challenging stage of life, what would you tell them?
So many things, but if I had to, for the sake of time, just kind of pinpoint it to one, something I kind of wish I heard a little bit earlier on when I was a little bit younger is you have to understand that there will be a bunch of doors slammed on your face, and that is part of the process, and it's not going to be easy at all. You are going to feel that there's going to be times where it's like you're going to question yourself, okay, why am I doing this? And then there are going to be times where you feel like giving up. But then I always say, go back to the root. Like, go back, think about that little girl that wanted to do this her entire life, and think about why it is you started. I feel like when you go back and you question, okay, the why of it, I feel like that's when you go back to your roots. You're like, okay, let's just kind of forget about like what I'm trying to do with this, but focus on why you're doing it and how it makes you feel. And just keep staying on that path. Just focus on the passion, because I feel like that's the only thing no one in this industry can take away from you, is your love and passion for doing whatever it is you want to do. They could take away a whole bunch of things, but not your dream. If it's your dream, then follow it. As cliche as it sounds, just don't give up on yourself.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. I hope that people who are listening or viewing right now can really take that and apply that, because I love to see it. I'm a big supporter of young artists and artists starting out in high school, university. I think it's great. Even if you're starting out later in life, I think these are very important tips for people to know. So thank you for sharing those.
Of course.
Now, I wanted to turn the attention to more of your music and kind of that creative side. Sure. So I was listening to your song Game Boy, and I also watched the music video, which was very, very nice. I love the visuals. And I just wanted to know, what's the backstory behind Game Boy and kind of that music video that you made?
Yeah, for sure. Game Boy, I feel like that's the first song of this kind of new era, like the music, the style of music that I've always wanted to do, which was more of like the pop rock, with a little bit of a punk energy, but overarching is I'd classify it as a pop rock song. But I wanted to create something that was just very lyrically raw, but empowering at the same time. I feel like no matter what I write, at the end of the day, I just want it to be empowering and be something that's like, okay, when I listen to it, does it make me feel like the badass that I am, right? So it's like kind of playing on a little bit of those like, standards of the song. Actually, just to quote a few lyrics, it's like, I start off by saying, sit with your legs crossed, speak up but not too much, look pretty but not too hot, right? Because then that's when you're called a slut. So I feel like I definitely, at the time, it's like, these standards and expectations of how to be a girl and stuff like that. So I feel like I actually wrote that song when I was in university here. So I feel like it's very relatable to what, a lot of students, especially girls, might be going through and just how society kind of expects them to be. So kind of fighting back against that, even if it's like a toxic relationship that you're in, it's just like finding the power to kind of be able to put your foot down and say like, no, this is not how I want to be treated, right? So it takes a lot of guts to be able to speak up and, realize your worth, your self-worth. So that's at the end of the day, that's all I want my music to be, just making you feel like you're worth it, you're good enough, and you don't have to, please change yourself just to please someone else, So music, and then the visual part of it, I always love, creating something aesthetically pleasing and just very like fun and just vibrant. So yeah, the Game Boy concept is like a little bit of the play on words. It's like, don't play me like a game boy. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think a lot of people may have caught on to that, maybe not, but yeah. And then for the video, it's like I wanted to kind of create a story. I was like having a little bit of a story along with lyrics. So it's like, if you've seen the beginning of the video, it's kind of like, oh, I find this Game Boy lying around on the ground, and I pick it up and I'm like, okay, what is this? And it's like, oh, I'm sure, like maybe my ex left it there or something like that. So it's like, and then I kind of enter into the game, and it's like, yeah, the feelings of being manipulated and being forcing you to act, feeling like you're forced to act a certain way. So that's kind of what I wanted to create with the video, and just like lots of vibrant colors, edgy and fun.
Yeah, no, you definitely hit the nail on that. It was a very electrifying video, and I also recommend anybody who's listening to definitely go check it out, because I really love the visuals in them.
Appreciate it.
Very cool.
Thanks, Tiana.
It's like, wow, that must have taken a lot of work, but I love to see it. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
Now, you've also accomplished some pretty big accolades in your time as being an artist. You've performed at festivals, Festpalooza. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, you did your homework.
And you also have performed very recently, opening for Simple Plan for a New Year's Eve event. And I was just wondering, what was that like, being able to kind of go out and perform?
Just even hearing you say that, to this day, I still can't wrap my head around that recent show, I feel like it's, I ended 2024 with a bang and was able to ring in the new year in such an incredible way. I was so honored and grateful to have been asked to open for Simple Plan at Garden Square here. So it was such a surreal feeling, and even bigger than that itself, it's like I feel like I started the year on a great note with music, and I believe in the power of manifestation. So it's like I hope that the rest of the year is filled with like so many more performances, touring, and opening opportunities. And Gusapalooza was a great one as well. I think that was actually one of the last shows that I ended 2024 with. Which was really cool because I won an award for it. They awarded me with best performance for that show, which was so cool, and I'm really glad because me and my team, we did put a lot of work into it. We had all the backup dancers, full 5-piece band, all the cool lighting, props, costumes. So it's like I just wanted to give the audience there like a taste of a little teaser of what CMAGIC5 could be on a bigger scale. Right, so a little bit of everything. I want my shows to be more than just a show, but an experience. And that's one of my favorite parts about being an artist is getting to perform. It's just that electrifying feeling, the adrenaline that comes before it and after it, and just getting to share that with the audience and, getting them out of their heads for like the set duration of a show. So whether it be 30 minutes or 60 minutes, just kind of like forgetting about your worries for that time being and focusing on yourself and enjoying good music and being able to kind of channel your main character energy and unleash your alter ego. I am dropping so many Easter eggs right now as I speak about new music.
Very fun.
But yeah, no, that's like the exciting parts about performing. And yeah, those performances were great. It was amazing opening for Simple Plan. I got to meet them, which was really cool. They were awesome. And moving forward, I do have like a lot of fun things coming up, like touring plans, I think, in spring this year, in May, which is exciting. And of course, a whole bunch of festivals. I feel like we go really hard on festivals here. Another cool performance last year was actually at the UTM Frosh. So I'm not sure if anyone listening to this right now remembers CMAGIC5 performing at the UTM Frosh, which was so cool. It was so fun to be back here. Getting to see the first years, the Froshies, they were so cute. Just out there to have a good time, enjoy music. And it was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that sounds very cool, and it's very satisfying to like watch that progression over time and getting to like do such big accomplishments like opening for a band that I'm assuming that you have admired when you were a kid and you were looking up to.
Yes.
That must have been very exciting.
Yeah, for
How
sure.
did you have any rituals before you went on stage, or like how did you prepare yourself for that performance?
A bunch. Definitely there's always I love the feelings before performance because there's definitely a ritual. It's like changes a little bit every time depending on the show, but like I definitely have to do my vocal warm-ups, and the ones I do are always so weird. If you ever want to do some vocal warm-ups, please feel free to hit me up. That's another fun fact. I am a vocal coach as well, so I have students that I teach. So I definitely never run out of ideas for vocal warm-ups. So yeah, I start off with those. I also like to do some kind of a workout during my day just because it pumps me up, gives me that energy. Usually if it's like an evening show, then I would do that in the morning. Also just making sure like I eat well, because I feel like you just need a lot of energy to be on that stage. And it's like, forget about counting calories that day, It's like, eat what you need, but the right stuff. So for me, it's always like a banana that gives me energy. I don't know why, but it does help. It definitely helps. And then I also just, stretch it out, meet with my band. We do our little pre-show chant, which we still haven't fully decided on. It changes every time. We always argue. We're like, what should it be? Classic High School Musical warm-ups, of course, like the prr, prr, ma. Those are always so fun. You could probably tell listeners probably know I'm such a Disney kid from listening to this interview, but it's my roots. And yeah, that's what I do. I just get really hyped, stuff some sugar down before I get on stage, and it's always a good feeling. It's a good vibe for sure.
No, it's very cool. And I feel like as an audience member, you can really see when a performer is excited and they're passionate because they're really giving it their all. And when they're like sweating and dripping in sweat, you I'm sure I
sweat buckets.
You're giving it your real all. But that's very cool to see.
Thank you.
What would you say is one of your biggest accomplishments that you have as an artist thus far?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think because I'm all about celebrating little wins. So I feel like the biggest one so far, I think it's probably the summer tour I did in 2024, that summer festival tour. I don't think I've ever done that many shows at that intensity of that caliber all in one season. So I did about 20 shows in that summer, which, you know, for some people, oh, that's a lot of shows. And for some people that might not sound like a lot, but do keep in mind, I am independent. I don't have an agent right now. So these are all self-booked shows. And as you may or may not know, competition out there is very cutthroat. So it is really, really hard. Every single gig and show that is booked does come with a lot of preparation and a lot of trying hard, right? So it's a lot of nose in your face to get that one, right? And that's what I did mention before, a lot of doors slammed to be able to kind of get that one breakthrough, that one opportunity. So that is why I'm always so grateful for each and every opportunity that comes through. So yeah, that was a really, really fun festival tour in summer 2024. And I would say, yeah, that, and because like through that, then, you know, I got a few awards, which was, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the IPMA, which is the International Portuguese Music Awards. So my song Rock, Paper, Scissors was actually awarded Best Song in the Pop category, which was so cool. So it was all around that time. So I feel like that time was just like when everything was clicking and it's like, okay, yeah, things are actually working. And then, of course, the Gusapalooza Music Award. But no, definitely the highlight has to be opening for Simple Plan. I feel like that's,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that kind of just raised the bar so high at this point. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to what's next.
Yeah, no, it is very exciting, and hearing about the accolades,
Yeah,
and you're like, wow, there's just, and so much within such a short amount of time too. Like you really had that very massive growth, which is very inspiring as well. Like if you are trying to start out, and hearing you say like you do get no's, and it happens
all the time,
but you know, you figure it out, and I think that's really great, and I'm very happy to see that in your music career.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Tiana.
Yeah, but looking forward into the future, what are some of your goals for where you want to go with your music career?
Well, I do love to say, you know, I don't think any dream is too big. So starting off with this year, I'm looking forward to putting out my EP in 2025. Definitely putting out lots of great new music. Touring. I want to tour not just nationally but internationally as well, so looking to grow in that area. And also even bigger awards, maybe a Grammy someday would be nice, but just overall, going back to my reason of why I do it, just being able to connect with fans on a large basis, on an international, like global basis, getting to meet fans from all over the world and see them face to face. And, you know, I think honestly for me, I forgot to mention when you asked me what's the coolest or like accolade that you've kind of had so far. For me, I still can't get over the feeling of seeing someone sing along to my lyrics, whether that be in show or just even online, of listeners creating videos to my new song that's dropping and things like that. So it's like seeing them sing along to the lyrics. I don't know why. I can't wrap my head around that, because that's all I've ever wanted to see. And it's such a touching experience for me. So I feel like that beats anything any day. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, that is very cool. And it is very exciting. Like, kind of feel that bubble of energy and excitement inside, and you're like, oh, I just want to see where this goes.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
On that note, I know that you have a new song coming out, and I was just wondering, what can you tell us about this new song?
I would love to tell you whatever you want to know, Tiana. I'm very excited about this new song because it is actually going to be, so Happy Never After is my new single that is coming out on January 17th. And it is the first single, but also the title track of my upcoming EP that's going to be dropping in summer of 2025. So yes, the EP will be called Happy Never After, and this single is called Happy Never After. What it's about, I got into the studio that day when I wrote this song, and I was like, I want to write a modern day anti-fairy tale. and the kind of like the inspiration behind it, it's like trying to, break away from the cliches of these fairy tale romances and things like that. I don't know, one day I kind of just got a little bit fed up, and I kind of asked myself, I was like, when am I going to have my happy ending? You know, like, sometimes I feel like, especially with movies and like media and social media, like you do see a lot of kind of sometimes unrealistic standards of relationships online and things like that. So it's like, yeah, they can get a person down if, you know, they may not be the most authentic. So yeah, it's kind of, you know, putting a little bit of a twist, flipping the script a little bit on that and saying, you know what, maybe this person isn't your happy ever after, you know? So it's like, I know it is kind of like happily ever after, but I was like, why don't we wish that person, you know, before you get in too deep, when you're starting to notice this toxic person's red flags, why don't we just wish them a happy never after? So I feel like it's kind of an equivalent to saying like, I don't know, like thank you next, or see you in a lifetime. But it's like, okay, happy never after, grateful for what happened, the good times, but you know, it's time to let this one go, right? So yeah, and it was definitely one of my favorite tracks off this EP, and I'm excited for everyone to get the chance to hear it. It's got a pop rock edgy vibe, leans more into that, and the EP itself, it's really exciting. So I'll be releasing a new single every month until it drops, until the EP drops in summer 2025. And I say that, you know, every single is supposed to kind of get listeners closer to unleashing their alter ego, and that's what it does for me. Again, I'm hinting at a song, the last track of this EP, but yeah, the next one that's coming out, the focus track, Happy and Ever After. Yeah, I'm so excited for everyone to hear it.
Yeah, no, I'm sure everybody is also very pumped up to hear it. And we actually have a special opportunity to hear it. If you're tuning into the stream or watching it right now, we are going to play Happy and Ever After by CMAGIC5, which is coming out on January 17th, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Well, thank you for coming on to the show today. I was very excited to interview you. I always love, I don't know, it's nice. It's nice to just kind of sit down and have a little conversation. It's like getting to know someone, which for me is a very exciting experience, and I hope for other people it's also pretty exciting. But yeah, thank you for sharing also your words of encouragement, some words of wisdom for people who are trying to get into music. And yeah, thanks for coming by.
Thank you so much, Tiana at CFRE, for having me. It was so much fun. Yeah, just getting to chat and being back here. You know, it's a weird, but it's a good experience. I missed it. You know, I do miss coming here and missing classes every day and stuff. So yeah, if you guys are tuning in, listeners, if you're at exams right now or whatever it is, yeah, just good luck with your classes and keep your head up. And yeah, the best is yet to come. And thank you again for having me. It was so much fun.
Yeah. Now, where can people find you if they're not familiar with you yet?
So wherever your favorite platform is, just at CMAGIC5. So whether that's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you want. So yeah, I would really love if you could check out my music, give it a listen, and yeah, definitely don't be shy. Come say hi on wherever you're at, Instagram, social media, just at CMAGIC5. And yeah, sometimes people get confused with the spelling of it. It's just CMAGIC5.
Ah, very exciting. And everybody, go show her some love. Come on. But
Thank you.
Well, thanks
Appreciate
for coming
it.
on.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in. And yeah.
We'll see you soon. I hope to be back soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.